Look, I'm not safe either, okay? If it kills her, it gets me. It goes straight down the line whoever started it. It's not done with me either, okay? And like I told you, all you can do is pass it along to someone else.
Sex, paranoia, betrayal. These are among the first words that come to mind when we talk about 2015's cult horror hit, It Follows. A movie that serves as a refreshing splash of originality and imagination that has gone on to become a mainstay in the Blu-ray players of horror lovers everywhere. While it is a movie that certainly receives its share of praise for being fresh with its concept and quite creative in its depiction of the movie's antagonistic entity, it also doesn't seem to get the analysis that it deserves beyond that initial praise. While the freshness and high-quality storytelling are certainly not up for debate in my book, I mean, this movie is awesome, but I have to say that beyond all the sex, paranoia, and betrayal, there's also a surprising layer of tenderness, friendship, and empowerment that carry it through the trending page of Instagram and into the pop culture zeitgeist forever.
It could look like someone you know, or it could be a stranger in a crowd. Whatever helps it get close to you.
It Follows is a 2015 horror film that sees Jay, played by Micah Monroe, and her concerned friends as they look for a way to end a curse that Jay was given by her boyfriend by way of the old in-out. What follows is, well, it follows. And what that means is essentially a collection of evil apparitions that slowly and blatantly stalk anyone who holds the curse until their eventual bloody demise. One of the many things that this movie does differently from typical spookies of the era is that instead of making the story a mystery as to how to survive or break the curse, the solution and rules of the curse are given to us right away, and the movie instead focuses its brisk runtime on a small group of characters searching for an alternative to the solution that will save everyone else from this sexually transmitted demon.
It should be easy for her, she's a girl. Any guy would be with you, just sleep with someone else and tell him to do the same thing.
The movie's opening scene is easily one of the more memorable in recent years, with a long, dramatic, and unbroken oneer that pans back and forth as it tracks a young woman in her underwear running from someone or something that's just behind the camera. The shot starts off quiet, with nothing but the ambient sounds of a sleepy middle American neighborhood. Then come the wailing screams of a clearly distressed woman, followed by the swelling synthesizer and rising intensity of the score. This scene does everything that a horror movie needs to do to get audiences into the story. It draws intrigue immediately, gives an unbroken look into the strange behavior of this person, and shows off the clear skillfulness of the movie's direction and photography, which director David Robert Mitchell styled after the iconic works of John Carpenter and George A. Romero. I mean, even the movie's establishing shots are total eye candy. One of the things that stands out about It Follows is the way that it evokes nostalgic, classic horror aesthetics and tone, while also choosing to deliver something that audiences weren't expecting and hadn't seen. For instance, in the tradition of movies like Scream or It, this movie offers a violent opening kill to kick off its 100-minute thrill ride. Yet for every homage made to the horror movies of old, there's some kind of unique spin on it that makes it all feel reinvented. Sure, we've seen an opening kill scene, but have we ever seen one where the victim knows that they're gonna die and they just succumb and take it? There may be an example or two in there, but I gotta admit, this opening scene genuinely creeps me out.
Annie, what are you doing?
I'm fine, Dad.
Preceding this iconic scene, we're introduced to Jay and some of our supporting cast, including Olivia Lucardi as Yara, Lily Seep as Kelly, Jay's younger sister, and Keir Gilchrist as Paul. Hey man, same name. Cool.
I liked you too, you know.
It's established early on that Paul has a massive crush on Jay, although he does not admit it right away. And Jay is romantically involved with Hugh, played by Jake Weary, who not only looks like he's about 10 years behind the times in terms of douchebag boyfriend fashion, but he's also the smooth-talking playboy who gives Jay the curse and then ties her up and forces her to be confronted by a naked woman that he claims is coming for her. He said he did this so that she'll know he's telling the truth.
I'm doing this to help you. Just so you know it's real.
Well, he then lets her loose to escape, and that's pretty much the last we get from Hugh, minus a little bit of exposition later. By the movie's 20-minute mark, we're already aware of what the curse seems to be, how it's transmitted, and how to potentially pass it on. And thanks to the movie's opening scene, we also know just how badly things will be for you if you don't. So, after getting dumped on the street in front of her house by Hugh, the true horrors begin when Jay starts experiencing hauntings the very next day after the incident. We're treated to a nice and effective roster of ghosts that stalk Jay around town in the form of a creepy old woman, a battered and toothless young woman, a beach-going woman, and even a naked man on the roof. Not to mention some of the creepy ghouls that stalk Jay and her friends throughout the movie. Of course, you're probably asking yourself, why wouldn't Jay just sleep with someone else and pass on the curse? And to that I say, she does. And that's when things get weird.
Frank, don't open the door!
What the fuck, Mom?
So, whatever it is can clearly change forms. That's why it looks different every time we see it. When Jay passes the curse onto her friend Greg, which he willingly accepts because horny teenagers, she realizes that she can still see the entity, and she happens to catch it sneaking into Greg's house at night. Well, she rushes across the street to help Greg, and what she finds is that it has taken the shape of Greg's mother, who then proceeds to fuck Greg to death? Yep, I'm not gonna unpack that any further. Let's move on.
We slept together in high school. It wasn't a big deal.
Now that Greg is dead, the entity will begin searching for the next person in line. So in this case, it would be Jay, since she had the curse before Greg. So once again, our crew is back at square one as they search for another way to beat this thing.
You could pass it on.
In a final desperate attempt to rid Jay of this curse, Paul recommends that they try to lure the ghost into a giant swimming pool in their local town, and drop an assortment of electrical products into the pool to hopefully electrocute it out of existence. In my opinion, this set piece is amazing, but the logic of how and why they came to this plan as their last hope is maybe a bit convenient. While I would agree with anyone saying that this plan is as good as any, I'm really just glad that Paul's initial plan was scrapped due to his charming morality. See, Paul was thinking of contracting the curse from Jay, then having sex with a sex worker to pass it on, with the logic that they would immediately pass it on to another client and further remove themselves a few degrees from the growing list of potential victims. But of course, the plan would have ultimately only put off the inevitable, with the lurking entity aiming not only to kill the person that currently has it, but anyone who's ever had it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, the movie's final showdown is complete with all the blood, screaming, and scares that you would hope for. When luring the entity into a pool for the electrocution of a lifetime, or after lifetime, chaos ensues and our guys are forced to fully throw down with this ghost.
Jay, look out! Oh my God, somebody help her! What do we do?
Of course, what's a good movie without a thought-provoking ending to leave you wanting more, though? The film closes with Paul seemingly killing the entity in the pool after many botched attempts and even accidentally shooting his childhood friend. Whoops. Jay and Paul not only walk away alive and mostly unharmed, they also fall in love and have a proper night of unprotected sex. Oh, and then this happens. Was this person just another neighbor out for a stroll? Or was it the it that follows? I'd say we'll never know, but truthfully, I think the fact that David Robert Mitchell has discussed plans for a sequel titled They Follow is proof that maybe things were not resolved. Whether or not this particular entity is gone is kind of irrelevant because, as the potential sequel's title suggests, there's more to whatever it is out there. From start to finish, It Follows is a darkly, scary, and brutal horror movie that's packaged in brilliant cinematography, a kick-ass score, overall good performances, and most importantly, freshness. This is one that I would highly recommend that you watch or rewatch on your next movie night. But for now, wear a condom, fellas. And ladies, run.